Hey everyone, in this video, we will add user profiles to the chat app that we've been working on. This will allow us to add many more features to our app when we can differentiate between who sent the message. We will use Django All Auth for this, so if you watch my other videos, this will probably look familiar. Django All Auth will allow us to easily set up authentication without writing all the code ourselves. Let's go ahead and get started by installing what we need. So I already have this terminal window open here. We have my virtual environment activated and I'm all ready to go. So make sure you have that going before we get started here. But now I'm going to go ahead and install Django All Auth. So I'll do a pip install Django-All Auth. And now with that installed, we can go and add it to our settings.py. So I'll jump into my chat folder and I'll go to my settings.py. So right here in our install apps, we can add some apps for Django All Auth. And there are 3 we need to add. So down here, I'm going to go ahead and add Allauth. I'm going to add allauth.account. And I'm going to add allauth.social account. And I'll link the documentation for Django All Auth in the description below, so you can go there to take a look at all of this. But we need these 3 to set up just local basic authentication. And if you want to add other providers, you can see all the different providers they have in their documentation and what apps you might also need to add. But in our case, we're just going to do just basic local username authentication. So we just need these 3 apps inside of our installed apps. I'm also going to need to add a site ID. So down here, I'm going to go and add a site_ID and set that equal to 1. That's another Django All Auth requirement. And finally, you look in these apps right here, there's one missing. There's no django.contrib.sites, which is a required app according to the Django All Auth documentation. So now below sessions, I'm going to put django.contrib.sites to make sure we meet that requirement as well. And that's all we need to kind of set up Django All Auth for now. There are various different settings you can set for Django All Auth. I'm going to go ahead and set those now. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to add a few more lines. So we'll put this below our static directory and static URL. I'm going to go ahead and first put an email backend and set that equal to django.core.mail.backends.console.email backend. And so Django All Auth will send an email to kind of confirm the user's email once we sign up with a user. And by default, there's no way to send an email. You have to set up a email account and SMTP and all that other stuff, which I don't want to do for this since we're just for testing. We don't really need to do that. Instead, we can set this email backend to be this console email backend. What that will do is it will put the email in the actual console itself. So in the terminal, you'll see the email show up there. And you could click on the link to go verify the user if you wanted to, but I'm probably not going to do that in this video. But this will prevent a 500 error that we'd get otherwise. If you don't set anything at all, you'll get an error when you try to register a user. So make sure you have either this or an actual email set up in Django. Next, I'm going to go ahead and set some redirect settings. So we'll do a login_redirect URL, and this will be equal to index. So as they log in, I'm going to redirect them back to the index page, which will ask them which group or which room they want to join. I'm also going to do the same thing for logout. I'm going to do account_logout_redirect URL and set that equal to index. And finally, I want to make sure the email is required. I want the user to have to give us an email when they sign up. So I'm going to add account_email_required, set that equal to true. And for now, that's all we're going to need to set up Django All Auth. I'm going to go ahead and migrate all the changes over and run the server. So I'm going to go ahead and run a Python And just to double check here, I'll go ahead and do an ls, and we're in the same directory as our manage.py, so make sure you're there. And we're going to Python 3 manage.py make migrations. And then we're going to go ahead and do a Python manage.py migrate. Okay, let's go ahead and run the server, make sure everything's still working okay. And we'll come here, reload the page, and we'll go to /chat, which is our index page, and we're still here at this chat room to enter a room. So this is all working well. Now that we have Django set up, we can go ahead and check out, or now we have Django All Auth set up, we can go and check out the login and logout pages. So we'll go ahead and go to localhost 8000/accounts/login. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to do because this is not working. We need to go add the, actually I'll go and just pull it up here so we can go through there. So this should be the documentation right here. And if you come down here, we'll start with installation. And so you come through here, we did all this, we set up all of this. And it looks like there was one thing I forgot, so I'm glad I pulled this up. I forgot this authentication backends. We'll add that here in a second. But the other thing, if you come down here, you'll see that we need to do is add the accounts URL patterns. And that's why that's not working, because we didn't add that there. But I also make sure I get this added as well. So I'm going to copy this right here. And let's go back to our settings.py. And we'll come up here. I'll put this, you can put it really anywhere. I'm going to put it right above the installed apps and make sure these dots, these periods go away. We don't want those showing up. That's going to throw a syntax error. And we'll get rid of these up here as well. Okay, so make sure you have that in there. I forgot about that. But now we need to go ahead and add the URL patterns. So back inside of the browser here, down here, we can go ahead and grab the URL patterns path right here. So we're going to copy that, and we will jump back into our Sublime text editor, go to our root URLs, so right below settings.py, and we'll add this in right here. So I'm going to paste that right there. And now with all that added, that should be it. We already migrated the changes, so we should be good now. And here are the list of all the settings. We used those earlier to set up our redirect URLs, email required. That's all in here. You can look at them through here to see what else you might want to add. But now with all that done, let's go ahead and refresh this page. And you'll see now it's working. We have a sign-in page, but it looks pretty terrible. And we'll fix that here in a second. But we can now sign in. We can also go to the sign-up page and sign up a user. And all this functionality works out of the box without us having to do anything else. Let's go and add a user right now. And we'll give it a password. And we signed in and redirected us back to our chat page. So it's all working great. We can go ahead and log out that user by going to account/logout. It will ask us, are you sure you want to sign out? We can hit sign out and redirect us back to the chat page. And later we'll go ahead and make this hidden unless you're logged in. But for now, that works okay. But right now we don't have that, so it just redirects us back here. So everything's working great. We can go ahead and log in, log out, and register without having to do anything else. That's already all set up for us. But let's go ahead and fix the templates. If we look at looking at our logins, our sign-in template here, it looks pretty terrible, and we can go ahead and make this look a lot better using Christie forms and some other HTML or some other CSS. You've seen my other videos, we've done this before, and we'll do the same thing here. What we'll need to do is we'll need to open a new window, and we'll need to go to Django All Auth GitHub. And we'll find the GitHub page right here. And this should be it. We're going to go ahead and download the zip file. Now we can open up here, and you'll see inside of Allauth, we'll have this templates folder. Inside of templates, we have account, which has our base HTML, it has our password reset, log out, log in, all the templates we need. So what we're going to do here is we're going to copy this folder, and we're going to go into our root of our project right here, and we're going to paste it right here. And so now we can go ahead and overwrite our templates with whatever we make the changes in, whatever changes we make inside of here. But right now this won't work. We need to add one more thing to make this work. What we need to do is we need to go back to our text editor, And we need to go to our settings.py. And in our templates array here, our templates list here, we need to add something to this dir's list. And what we can do here, I'm using the newest version of Django, and so you'll see our base dir up here. What we can do with that is we can do base dir, put a slash, put a space, and then in quotes put templates. If you use an older version of Django, you might need to do the os.path.join thing, but in the newer versions, you can just do base dir, a slash, and then templates, and that will create a path that goes to our base directory and appends the templates folder onto that, and that will give us access to those templates we just added to the root of our file, or to our root of our project. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now as a quick test, let's go inside templates, let's go inside account, let's go inside of login.html, and anywhere on here, I'm just going to go ahead and just put a p tag and just put test, just so we know that this is working and that we're overriding the templates. So now I come back here, I refresh the page, and it doesn't look like it's showing up. Let's go ahead and stop our server, rerun it. Oh, you know what? I'm inside the if statement there. Let's go ahead and put that just right above our form or something and save that. There we go. So now a test is showing up here, so we know this is overriding our templates, the default templates, to whatever we change in this file. So now we can make all the changes we want to make this look much, much better. Let's go ahead and do that now. So to make this easier, I'm going to go ahead and use Bootstrap just for the inputs to make it much easier, just to make it look better. Right now we have this form.asp, and so I'm going to replace this with a Christie filter and use Bootstrap to make it look a little better, and we'll create our own styles for the button. So to do that, we'll need to install Django Christie Forms. And what Django Christie Forms is, it's just another package we can install that will making our forms look better, much easier, instead of having to write all the styles ourselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a search for Django Christie Forms. We'll find the first one here on the readthedocs.io, and this will give us all the information on it. We're gonna use the Christie filter, although in some cases this Christie tag will give you much more control and is a kind of a better way of doing it, but for our needs here, all we need is just this Christie filter. So we'll use that in this tutorial. First, we're going to need to go ahead and install it. So we'll go ahead and install that now. I'm going to go ahead and stop our server for a second here and do a pip install. And it should just be Django dash Crispy dash forms and install Django Christie Forms. And then we'll need to go ahead and add it to our install apps. So I'm going to go and just copy this, jump inside of Sublime here, settings.py, find our installed apps, and I'll put this, just put it right down here, wherever really. Go ahead and save that. And that is it for all the basic setup. We're going to go ahead and use a Christie template pack, and we're going to use Bootstrap 4 just for simplicity here. So we're going to go ahead and add this Christie template pack setting to our settings.py. So we'll jump into Sublime. We will go down to the very bottom of our file, I guess, and we'll put it right here. And we'll change uniform to Bootstrap 4. Now, to make this work, we're also going to need to grab the Bootstrap CSS link. So we'll do a search for Bootstrap, and we'll find this here. This is looking at version 5.1. We'll go ahead and click download, and we'll come down here to actually just click on get started, and you'll find the starter template. You can add more of this in if you want to, but all we're going to really need to add in here is the CSS. You could also add the JavaScript in, but we're not going to use that for now. So I'm going to just copy just this Bootstrap CSS line, and we can go ahead and add that to our file here. So we'll go into our templates folder, our account, and find the base.html. And within this head, so I'll go below this end block here, I'll paste it in right there. And now with that change, we can go ahead and go to all of our templates we want to update. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and just do the login and the register. we'll go ahead and do a tag of crispy. And at the top here, we also need to import crispy forms. So we'll put another Django syntax, template syntax block here, and we'll do load crispy forms tags. And then we'll go and do the same thing for our sign up. Load crispy forms tags. And then we'll go ahead, add the crispy filter here on our form by putting a pipe and typing crispy. Go and save that. And now let's go ahead and look at our form and see what it looks like. I need to run the server, so let's go ahead and run the server again. And you'll see these form inputs already look much better. They don't have the little tiny little styles they had before. They span the entire width of the page, which will change in a second, but we at least have a much better looking input field to type into. And the sign up should look about the same, just like that. So let's go ahead and add our own CSS now to make this look a lot better and make it kind of like a card, like how our index page is, and as well as add some styles for our button here. And so to do that, we're going to go ahead and create a new CSS file for that. So let's go back to our Sublime text editor. Let's go into, first we'll close out this templates folder. Let's go into our static, and inside of here, we'll create a new file and we'll call it auth.css. And I'm going to go ahead and type in all the styles now, and then I'll just go ahead and put the classes in a second. So what we'll do here is we first want to go ahead and import this work sans font right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this, and I want to go to the auth here and import that in right there. Next, I want to go and set the background color of the page to be the same color as the other pages. So let's do a background color of F5, F5, F5. And next, we want to go add a container for a form. So I'll call this form container. And this will have a background color of white. We'll have a box shadow. And this will be the same box shadow that we have in our other CSS. So I'm going to just grab that just to save time here. We're going to do the same box shadow here. So I'll copy that and paste it right there. Next, I'm going to do a max width and set this equal to 800 pixels. We'll set a margin equaling to 100 px auto. Padding, this will be 50 pixels. And we'll set a header class. In this class, we'll just have our font family being the work sans that we imported. Just like that. And then we'll add a class to our secondary action, which is a class that already exists. In this case, that will be our forgot password button, or forgot password link, I guess it is. So add a secondary action class here. And we just want to remove the underline, the blue underline. I don't really like how that looks, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that there. And then we'll add a primary action class, which will be a class that's on our submit button. And we'll add some styles here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a button that acts similarly to the other buttons, but I don't want to give it the rounded shape. I'm going to make this one a square button. So we'll do a background color. We'll set this equal to white. Set a color, and this will be this like aqua bluish greenish, I guess. So it'll be a 05A864. And we'll add a border, and this will be 0.16 EM solid, and it will be that same color right here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste that in right here. Next, we want to go ahead and add some padding. So add a padding, and this will be 15 pixels top and bottom, and 32 pixels left and right. Next, we'll add a text align of center. And we'll go ahead and add a text decoration of none. We'll add a display of inline block. A font size of 16 pixels. And we'll add a cursor of pointer. And we'll add a transition between this and the hover effects of 0.3 seconds. we will go ahead and add a width of 100%, and we will add a margin of 25 px top and bottom and 0 left and right. Okay, and now we'll add some hover effects. So we'll do a primary action, and we'll do a colon hover. So when we hover over the button, we want to go ahead and invert the colors like we did on other buttons. So we'll do a background color. And this will be that aqua color. So I have to probably stop it right there. I can paste it there, and we'll add a color of FFFF, which is just white, and we'll add a transition of 0.3 seconds. Okay, I kind of ran through that pretty quickly because most of this should be self-explanatory. These button styles are pretty much the same as our other buttons, minus there's no border radius to make them rounded. Other than that, though, most of this should be pretty self-explanatory. We create a card here with a white background and a box shadow to make it kind of pop up off the screen a little bit. Set a max width, and we set a margin and padding. This might not work well on mobile. In a future video, we might come back and mess with this a little bit to make it work better on mobile, but for the desktop for now, this is going to work great. So we'll go ahead and save that. And now with those changes, we can go ahead and make some changes to our HTML files to use these styles. And some of them will already are being used with like a secondary action and primary action. I use those names because they're already classes with those attached to them, already elements with those classes attached to them. So let's go ahead and first jump into our templates folder, our account, and we'll go to the login template. And this button, first I should just go look at it. Let's just see what it looks like right now. Right now it didn't look like anything changed, and that's because I didn't link the CSS. So we need to make sure we link that CSS file inside of this. We'll actually do it in the base HTML. We'll link it in the head here. So we'll add another link tag here, add a link, and the href will be, we'll load it from static. So we'll do our 2 clear braces, 2% signs, and we will do static, and in quotes here, single quotes, we'll do auth.css. And make sure that at the very top of the file here, we load our static. So we'll do another template tag here, and we will do load static. And then we'll go ahead and set rel equal to style sheet and a type equal to text/CSS. Okay, now let's go back and check out our new template here. And you'll see now our button changed and took the whole width of the screen, which will change here in a second. But you'll see here it has the correct hover effects working, and remove the underline underneath our text here, and we added some spacing. So that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add some styles to the elements here to make the rest of the styles appear in this template. So inside of our login.html, first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and put a class, a div around everything here. So right in here, we'll do a div with a class equaling to form container. And this will give us our card look that we have. And I'm going to close that at the end of the form here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab all this and indent it in one. And then on this H1, I'm going to add a class. This will be our header class, which will change the font. And that might be it. I think that might be it. Let's also go ahead and move this helper text to the bottom as well. So if we grab, we're not using any of this provider stuff, so I'm going to ignore that. But down here, it says if you've created an account. Now, if you're not created an account yet, then please sign up first. I'm going to grab all of this A tag here and this P tag. I'm going to cut that out of here. And I'm going to put that down here below the form. Or actually, no, I'm going to put it below, inside the form, below the button. So we'll put it right here. And be careful if you do this and you're using these social providers, because that might mess this logic up. But if you're not, you can go ahead and just move that down there and it should work fine. Let's go ahead and reload the page. And here we go. So now we have a card here, a button that spans the entire width of this card, or the width of the card minus the padding, I guess. We have our inputs here look a lot better, and this looks much, much better than it did before. Another thing we have, though, we have this menu up here. You could keep this if you want. I'm going to get rid of it because I don't really want it. So inside of our base HTML, you'll see here we have these messages and this menu. I'm going to delete all of this. So I'm going to grab if messages and this menu all the way down to this div right here. Just going to go ahead and just delete all of that. And now that gets rid of all of that and gets rid of our menu up there. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump into our sign up page and do the same thing. So we'll find our sign up HTML right here, and let's go ahead and make some changes here. So first things first, we already have our CSS loaded, so we loaded it in the base template, so it's already here ready to go. First things first, let's go ahead and put our form container on a div. So we'll create a div, we'll create a class of form-container, and we'll close that right at the bottom here below our form. We'll indent everything in. And on our H1 here, we'll add our header class. And we'll go ahead and move this already have an account text to the bottom as well, below the button right here. Let's go and fix that indentation. And that might be it. Let's go ahead now and reload the page and see what it looks like. And there we go. So there is one thing missing though, is our button styles. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Oh, and our secondary action styles. Let's go ahead and make those changes real quick. So let's see here. On this button here, there's no class. So we'll add our primary action class here. Class of primary action. And on maybe we'll try it right here, class of secondary action. Or actually, no, we'll leave that one how it is because we left it how it is on the other one. On our this template, we left the underline there, so we'll go ahead and leave it. But now this looks a lot better, and we have this button looking much better now. And there's some good spacing around everything here as well. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and update one more template, and that's the logout template. So if I go ahead and sign in with the user, and we'll go to the logout template. We'll go ahead and make this look a little better. So let's go ahead and go into our text editor here. We'll find our logout. And let's go ahead and do the same thing. So we'll go ahead and put a div with our form container as a class here. We'll close it right below our form. We'll grab all of this here and indent it in. And on our H1 here, we'll create a class of header. And on our button here, we'll add a class equaling to primary action. And that should be it. Let's go ahead here, reload the page. And now it says sign out. Are you sure you want to sign out? We can hit sign out here and it logs us out. So that is all we're going to do for those templates. You could go through and do some other ones. Like it might be nice to go ahead and update like our email confirm, the password resets, and all that other stuff. I don't really want to do that right here. You know, you can do the same process I did here for those templates to make those look good as well. But I'm going to leave those how they are for now. Maybe in a future video, I'll come back and update those. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it, at least not in this video. Okay, now with all that done, there's a few things we want to add. Right now, the user should not be able to get to this page, or if we go to a room, they should not be able to get to this room without being logged in. And right now I'm logged out, so we don't want that to happen. So the easiest way to fix that would be to use a mixin. So we go to Sublime Text, we go to our views.py. We can do this very, very easily with Django. So let me find my chat rooms here, views.py. Django has lots of built-in features, and this is one that makes this super, super easy. So all I need to do here is I just need to do from django.contrib.auth.mixins import login required mix. And then we can add that to our views. Make sure you go in front of the view class though. You don't want to put that behind it. And we'll add our login required mixin there as well as here. And now if we come back here, refresh the page, it's going to redirect us to our sign in page. And you'll see up here, it says next equals /chat. So it's going to take us back to our index page once we sign in. So go ahead and sign in now. And it takes us back to our index page here. There's one more thing we're going to do in this video, and that is just to add a button here to log us out. Right now, there's no way to log out from this page. So let's go ahead and add just a little button here. We'll create a nav bar, a really simple nav bar, which just has one link right over here to log out. So back into our Sublime text editor, we'll go ahead and inside of our templates, inside of our chat rooms templates, where we have our index and our room, we're going to create a new file. We're going to save this as nav.html. And this will just be a very simple nav bar here. And inside the nav bar, we're going to go and create a div, a class equaling to nav. And then inside of this div here, we'll add an a tag with a class equaling to sign-out. And we'll do that an href equaling to URL, and we'll do account underscore login. And this is the Django All Auth name for the login route. You can do logout, sign up, all the normal ones you'll have here will be at the beginning. I'll have account underscore whatever you want. In this case, we want login. And you can find that in the Django GitHub if you want to find the other routes as well. And we'll put the text set to sign out, and we'll close out the a tag, close out that div, and close out that nav. And that is it for our nav bar. Now we need to go ahead and include this file inside of our index and inside of our room.html. So this is where it'd be good to create a base.html, but right now I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to put it here manually, and that is pretty easy. We can just do an include. So we can just type include, and then in single quotes here, we can put chat rooms /nav.html and save that. And we're going to copy this and put the same thing inside of our room.html at the very top of the body. And that should add a link there for us right up here. Now let's go ahead and style that inside of our style.css. So back inside of our Sublime text editor, we'll go to our style.css file here. And at the bottom here, I'll add a couple more styles for that. So we added a nav class and a signout class. So we're going to go ahead and add some styles for both of those. So for nav, we're going to go ahead and first set a width of 95 viewport widths. So there'll be some padding on the left and right. And then we're going to do a text align of right. This will put the button on the right, which I think looks a little bit better, but it's kind of up to you where you want to put that. We'll do a sign-out for that class, and this will have a font family. And we'll set this equal to Verdana, comma, Geneva, comma, Tahoma, comma, like that. And then we'll go do a text decoration of none. We'll do a color, set that to a just to like a dark, really dark gray, so 333. And we'll set a transition equaling to 0.3 seconds. Next, we'll add some hover effects to this. We'll do a sign out, :hover. And what we'll do here is we'll set our cursor, the pointer, and then we'll go ahead and set a color. We'll set it to this blue color. So I'm going to put a hashtag here and do a 1D5A97. And we'll also add a transition of 0.3 seconds to make that transition between the colors smooth. Okay, now I'll come up here, refresh the page. And we have a sign up button over here. Hover over it, turns blue. Click on it, and it looks like our button's not working, but at least we have our styles working good. Let's go ahead and fix our button real quick, or our link real quick. So back inside of our nav, what did I put? I put login. we don't want the login, we want the log out. So let's go and fix that real quick. That was just a typo on my part. Back here, refresh the page. And also just Django All Auth won't let you log in if you're already logged in with the user. So that's why it did nothing and just kept us here. But now that we have a user logged in, I can hit sign out. And that will take us here to sign out. Now, we don't need to worry about any logic about changing this button because this page is not visible at all unless they're logged in. So all we need here is just a sign out button. We click that, click sign out, and then it takes us back to this login page, and it'll redirect us back to the index page once we logged in. So everything's working pretty good now. I ran through that pretty quickly because we've done things like this before, but now we have that set up so we can go ahead and add some more advanced features to this application. We can set we can kind of determine who sent the message and change the styles based off of that. We can, allow people to, add favorites or add friends or whatever else you want to add to this application. That's all possible now that we have accounts added to the project. So that's where we will stop today. The code and everything will be in the description below. I'll also link the documentation for Christie Forms and Allauth, as well as all the other links that are usually down there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.